Welcome back, family, to the Truth Be Told podcast, where we'll be telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God.
We're not against
Y'all hear that?
rappers, but we are against those thugs.
So, unless you've been living under a rock, you have witnessed part or all of this alleged beef between 50 Cent and T.I., right? Truthfully, it doesn't matter how it started. It just needs to end now. If not now, then when? How does this end? After all, we all know how this could go and how it could end, right? Let's not fool ourselves. Unfortunately, we have seen this before. These things have become all too common in the so-called culture, right? Yet again, we have two rappers consumed by some sort of beef for one reason or another. It's just rap, right? It's just part of the culture, right? If I'm not mistaken, we quite literally just discussed this in our last episode. But it's just rap, right? Just part of the culture, right? Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, right? We have two very talented, intelligent, successful, attractive, and influential men who both have major platforms and can be seen by many. Yet, instead of using all their greatest abilities and achievements for good to create a positive impact, instead, they have found themselves verbally sparring with each other, intentionally assassinating the integrity and character of each other. Can we go deeper? This is actually the trick of the enemy. We've seen this time and time again, yet we're still not learning the lessons. The enemy will get you to use your gifts, talents, and abilities for destruction instead of construction, essentially making you play yourself out of your own spot, out of your own integrity and moral standing, basically getting you to come in agreement by spewing hatred and negativity, all while playing your emotions against you. As we know, there's power of life and death in the tongue, yet we still have the power to choose, right? I know the ideal response to this situation would be no response, so no more of us are feeding our energy to the machine. But who would I be if I said nothing and didn't come on here and tell you the truth? As I've said, we've seen this story time and time again, and you know how history loves to repeat itself. Let me tell you a story about two rap legends who found themselves in a very heated, controversial beef involving the West Coast and the East Coast, getting the whole culture involved. These two prolific lyricists went at it, sparring verbally against each other, hitting below the belt, very much like we see today, involving family, friends, backgrounds, traumas, etc. You name it. They engaged in this beef back and forth as the world egged it on. Everyone in the culture began to choose sides, and the world itself became very divisive, as if we haven't already had enough of that already, right? It is still the most notorious rap beef in history, yet we should have learned something from this, right? Now, we all know how that story ended, right? So, who will we be if we entertain this same energy, know how it could potentially end, right? Not all these situations end that way, but we know the potential that it could, okay? Why are we creating more division in a time like now? Do you think the monks gathered for their leisure to come walk across America simply for our entertainment? No, it was a call for peace from everyone in every sector of the world, from the highest of elites to us regular folk. We are all meant to embrace peace at a time like this. This is no time to feed the machine any more negativity. We've seen how this goes. We do not need any more division. Why isn't our focus on building community? I could see if these gentlemen were in their younger years, earlier days of rap career where tensions flare and everybody's trying to find their spot. But they have their spot. They're very influential. They both have mass platforms. They both have a large audience that they can affect and influence. And both of them have resources to help build within a community. I'm sure 50 Cent could find other movies to produce, shows for us to watch, right, as he's done. I'm sure T.I. could continue his rapping career, produce his children's rapping career, feed into and pour into the family and community that he so lovingly displayed on social media amidst this beef. What we must admit is this has gone a little too far, involving family, children, the deceased, way too far. Somebody has to call a truce here. Somebody has to speak up and speak positivity into this situation. We can choose better. We do not need to take this route again. We do not need to be divisive when we already experience so much of that in the community and outside of the community. We should be focused on community construction, not destruction. Now, who will we be if we entertain the same divisive energy that tears apart the very culture it claims to represent? And then it'll be the same culture that cries and mourns when this ends fatally. So, where does it end? How does it end? How do we stop ourselves from becoming trapped and entangled in these same cycles? Instead of building, we are working on destroying our own communities, our own people, our own legends, our own leaders. At this point, we don't even need anyone else to come from the outside and do it. We do it ourselves. This family is a call to consciousness. We are better than this. We deserve better than this. Our youth deserves better than this. We should have all learned this by now. Hate only begets more hate. I hate to be the one to tell you, but you know I'm going to tell you the truth. Your cognitive dissonance prevents you from seeing you're still in the trap of cognitive poverty. Take as long as you need with that one. This is a reminder, gentlemen, that all eyes are on you. So what will you show the world about our Black men today? And that is the end of the message, family. I hope everyone can take something from this message. Hopefully a message of positivity and creating peace and working together. Remember, construction instead of destruction on all levels. This is definitely a message and a conversation we need to expound upon in a different way. Instead of focusing on the beef, the negativity, who said what, who's involved where, adding to the conversation, adding toxic comments and memes, feeding the machine more negativity to thrive on. How about we trick the system? How about we do something we don't do often and we decide we're not going to fall for these same tricks and tactics? We will rise above this and do what we need to do to embrace ourselves, embrace our culture, and learn to build. By now, we could have had another Black Wall Street if everyone was focused on building. So let's dive deeper and have the deeper conversation that needs to be had on what we can do to build within the community and ourselves, our integrity, our character, build up our youth to deter them from the distractions that keep them from reaching their greatest destiny and potential. Okay? You know what I always say, family? Truth without love is brutality. Love without truth is hypocrisy. And as we know, fools multiply when wise men or women are silent. So we mustn't be silent. We must tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, even when it hurts. Until next time, peace, y'all.